Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. This is episode 80. I'm your host, Antonino, the Podfather, and this week we're keeping the chains moving with yet another faithful fanatic, but this time I had to use my ties to the Mafia. Yes, that's right, Bills Mafia. Everyone, it's time to circle the wagons. We have Buffalo Bills enthusiast Harry with us in studio. Welcome in, Harry.
Thank you so much for having me. You and I have been talking this week, and you know how excited I am to be here right now. We have a lot to talk about, and I just appreciate you having me on.
Man, you said you have a lot to get off your chest, tons to get off your chest. So what we do best here is giving people the platform, 4 downs in 30 short minutes. But fun fact, before we get started, we've watched a lot of games together, and I've gone as far as even wearing Buffalo Bills merchandise in support, okay? I've worn the blue. Yes, this is a true story. But what we want to know is, how the heck did that happen? But how the heck did you become a fan of the Buffalo Bills?
Well, thank you so much for that, and I'm glad you brought that up because you look good in blue, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when when the playoffs roll around again. But becoming a Bills fan, it doesn't happen. It happens because you end up in that area. So we moved from Los Angeles when I was really young to Rochester, New York. And naturally, LA didn't have a football team at the time. So what you did when you got there was you got Bills seasons tickets. At the time, back in 2004, you got them with, a Whopper. We were not the best team at the time. So, it was a religion over there. It truly was. Everyone, man, women, children, they all knew what was going on with the Bills. The streets shut down, and it was a very welcoming and family franchise at the time.
So clearly, the next part of this story goes, you went to a game, you jumped onto the table, the smashing table thing they do at the tailgate, you got a concussion, and that's how you become a fan? That's it?
That's actually how you become a fan for life. That's actually, how you finally earn your jersey. I remember at the time, and I told you a little bit about this story, I actually went to my first game, and I don't remember much. I remember we played the Broncos, and I remember at the last second losing on a last second goal as I stood behind those uprights. And I remember the stadium went silent at that point. And I was like, is this what being a Bills fan is like? And they're like, yep.
You're paying lots of pain. Oh, boy. I feel for you. I feel like every fanatic we've had on here has that pain deep down somewhere. I actually had a Patriots fan in last week, so there's a stench of AFC East in this studio. We'll see if we can get through this. But we have a lot to dive into here. To all the listeners on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you know the drill. 4 downs, 30 minutes. What do you say, Harry? Should we dive right in?
Absolutely.
All right. First down, those Buffalo Bills stampeded all over the Steelers. Stampeded on Sunday evening in Pittsburgh. Bills overcame a slow start and defeated the Steelers 26-7 when the Bills, on a night where they were down 2 offensive linemen, they proved resilient and they sent Aaron Rodgers crying in the postgame speech about his receivers. Tell me, what was the best thing you saw on Sunday afternoon?
Well, I think the best thing I saw was our offensive line, despite being down 2 starters, 2.5, because we lost our center pretty much halfway through the game. They just looked fantastic. And, the gaps they were able to open with contributions from our tight ends over here, Dawson Knox and the rookie. They looked in sync. And so there was a lot of encouraging things going on, as well as some big step-ups from people on our team. Bosa, Benford, they looked fantastic. And after these rough last couple weeks, it was really encouraging to see the offense and the defense, which had not been there recently.
Well, you mentioned that offensive line opening up holes with 2 replacements. Wow, they broke a record. The Buffalo Bills finished with 249 yards rushing. This was historic. First time in Pittsburgh, in Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium since 2001. But in the last 50 years, no one's done that against Pittsburgh. So like you said, this line, the blocking, was doing it all night long.
Absolutely. And people forget, right? Lost in, definitely Bills fans. We certainly get lost in the Josh Allen show, right? Any play could turn into a home run because we're just so used to seeing that. But people did not realize, the strength of the Bills over the last year or two really has been our offensive line. Last year, Josh Allen had the least sacks in the entire league, and it was because of the strength up front. We were able to create, Josh Allen last game, he just broke the record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history. And that's no accident. That's because of not just him being a lineman running down the field himself, but also because of the big boys up front who really have not gotten the recognition they deserve for the Bills over the last year or two. And it was just something, it was so good to see them come together on that last game and really flex a little bit again.
Man, dropping some knowledge. I did not know that. But yeah, that offense, there's a new offensive coordinator there, and it's like a love-hate relationship. Some days they want his behind to skip town, and some days they're like, okay, this looks nice. What are your thoughts on the offensive coordinator? Do you miss Ken Dorsey, or do you like Joe Brady?
So a lot of people don't remember, and there's a lot of rumbling in Buffalo about this. Joe Brady, personally, I'm not the biggest fan. I think we went from Ken Dorsey, who was the Hail Mary specialist. He saw Josh, he saw that cannon of an arm. There's a reason Josh led the league in interceptions that year, and it's because we were bombing it down the field every play.
Aggressive.
And I think Joe Brady was a reaction to that. I think Joe Brady, as soon as Ken Dorsey was let go, Joe Brady was an equal and opposite reaction. So if you see our plays now, it's a lot of screens, it's a lot of runs, it's a lot of repetition and leaning into that offensive line, which I just gave a lot of props to, but you can't do that every time, especially when you have an MVP caliber quarterback. So I know the Buffalo fans are looking for a change, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I know I'm on social media a lot, and I look at X, and I'm looking at what Bills fans are saying during this game. And at halftime, you guys were down 7-3, and it was getting a little dicey in the chat, folks. Like, people were going at other people's heads, clear house, fire him, fire this player, bench that player. But they really, from 3-zip at half, they pulled it together, and they suffocated Pittsburgh. Offensively, Pittsburgh couldn't get anything done. Aaron Rodgers, I think, finished with maybe 100 yards, got hurt, came out, came back in. Rudolph couldn't do anything. You really kept all their players at bay and pounded that rock. Were you nervous down 3-zip at half? What was going through your mind down 3-zip against the Steelers during that game?
This first half was indicative of the difference this year with the Bills. Last year, we were one of the league leaders in turnover differential. Josh, the reason he made that jump and got to MVP was because he kept those interceptions and those turnovers down, and we as a team did that. We had 2 just of the most boneheaded turnovers to begin that game. It was us seeing that side of the Bills that we're afraid of. And, for the Bills, I think it was a microcosm of how we as the fans feel that this team can go as far as they want to. They just have to get out of their own way.
Amen to that. I know I've watched a lot of games with you, and it's been a roller coaster of a season. If you watch that Texans game a couple weeks ago, took that loss, the turnovers, really a true roller coaster. And you mentioned this team can go as far as they can go. How about we shift gears? Let's go to second down. Let's look at the outlook of these Bills, and don't look now. There might be a tough game coming up. A little hint right there, a little primer. But the Buffalo Bills, currently sitting in the 7th seed, wild card. Let's look at their future schedule. They have a certain team from Cincinnati coming into town. That could be a tough. I think they have a certain quarterback coming back. What are your thoughts on that Bengals game?
Listen, man, I just know that defense couldn't stop Stephen Hawking from running down the field. And so I'm worried. I will say that we talked about this. The Bengals have been the Bills' kryptonite besides the Chiefs, of course. But, when it comes right down to it, the Bengals have really had our number. And it's because of the style they play that just routinely has gone against, has matched up very well against us. I think we have a great opportunity this week. Again, as long as we stay out of our own way and take this for the challenge it's really going to be.
Yep, and I'm very curious. I'm looking specifically at your cornerbacks, Benford and Tre'Davion White, having to match up with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Tre'Davion, 29 years old, think he left, came back. Benford, he's been doing pretty good. Curious to see how that passing attack and that defense goes. It will be a chilly day in Buffalo, cold, potential flurries. I got my popcorn ready. Where are you going to be watching this game? I know I'll be on a flight. Where will you be watching this game?
I'll be downstairs in the same spot. You see, us Bills fans, we have our traditions, and we're very aggressive about our traditions. So I have a spot down at my local bar. We have a chair. We don't deviate from the chair. If we won last week, we're not moving chairs. We're getting the same order, so that I know where I'll be.
We're superstitious, me and you. We're cut from the same cloth here. When you find something that works, you don't deviate it. But speaking of superstition, all right, when you think Buffalo Bills, you can't not think of wide right, the 4 straight Super Bowls that you guys lost. What can you do to break the curse?
It's going to be, again, to get out of our own way. And you get right down to it, right? You look at these Bills. You look at their last, their last couple playoff runs. They don't lose by a lot. They're not out here getting beaten up. They are losing on a last-minute drive that somehow gets messed up by their own devices.
Yep.
It's just we're always so close, and that's what we need is just to cap it off.
The margins so slim in this league. We'll look real quick at the division standings. You're 2.5 games back of those Patriots. It could be a playoff road that goes on the road. This could be the last year, will be the last year in Highmark Stadium, but that last game could be in the regular season. Are you nervous about potentially having to go on the road for the entirety of the playoffs?
And that's something I think we're really worried about. You and I both know one of the biggest benefits to the Bills is our home court advantage. Whether it's the weather, whether it's the fans, it's the wind that we are used to and they're not. I don't see anyone in the AFC that I am truly scared of. And you and I have kind of talked about this. The entire NFL seems to be, up for grabs this year. I
want to know. It's up for grabs. We're going to touch on this on third down. The whole AFC up for grabs. But what could be the biggest weakness looking at this team? I know you want that home field, but besides the home field advantage, what could be the biggest potential weakness of this Buffalo Bills team?
It's going to be our offense. It's going to be our receiving core. Right now, the Bills do not have a number one receiver, a true number one receiver that we can call a number one. Our top receiver this year is our tight end, Dalton Kincaid. You can't have that happen going into the playoffs. These are too big of games for that.
Yep, you have
as well as
Keon Coleman, young stud Keon Coleman had a touchdown against Pittsburgh as well, but maybe not the production you were hoping from Keon Coleman. You're hoping he comes around and hits his full stride before the playoffs get here.
Sure.
Now, I'm looking at the next. We talked about the Bengals game. That's a toss-up. Then you got the New England Patriots after that. We all know that's going to be a tough divisional game. Then you have the Browns. Probably should win that one. Then the Eagles and Jets to finish the year. What are you thinking? Of those 5 games, how many wins can you take from that?
Oh, we could win them all.
Oh,
We truly can. I wanted to bring this up because I don't think people remember. The Bills had more first downs, yardage, time of possession in the New England game. We just happen to have 3 of the silliest turnovers you'll ever see. So we could, again, just not get out of our own way. So we have the second ranked offense in the NFL right now. We can't stop the run. We have to figure that out, but we have people coming back from injury. I think we can really make a push towards the end of the year.
I have one last question for you. We're talking about the outlook of the Buffalo Bills. Are the Buffalo Bills wasting the career of Josh Allen if they do not get to the playoffs or they don't get to the Super Bowl and eventually win one?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. And Bills fans are the first to say that. He is so impactful for the Buffalo community. He is, a hero over there. And it is tough to see, the one head that people are really calling for right now is our GM, Brandon Beane. And I don't think many people saw this, but he got done with another trade deadline had passed. And I think I told you he put out a tweet about, this trade deadline stuff sure is hard. You can't say that.
Who is checking that account? That should not ever go out.
You can't say that. This is our window, and we realize it's coming to an end, and we need to make some legitimate moves and take this seriously.
Well, what better transition there? The window's open. Let's go to third down and talk about this window and who they might be up against. Let's talk playoff picture parity. So this year, we label a team a contender. They pee right down their leg the next week. The Eagles, they're the top dog. They lose. The Rams, they're the top dog. They lose to the Panthers. Every week you try and crown someone, it looks like people are falling off. Let's take a look. First seed in the AFC, the Broncos at 10-2. First place in the NFC, the Bears at 9-3. What are we thinking? Are the Broncos and Bears really the cream of the crop in both of these conferences?
I think you and I both know that's not the case. I was taking a look at the Bears' schedule, and I root for the Bears. Being from LA, we were big USC fans growing up. I love Caleb Williams. The matchups they've had have just been very favorable so far. I think we're going to see over these next 5 games what's left. I think I saw they have 2 games against Green Bay left. They were blown out by the Lions, so I don't think that's going to be, I think we're going to learn a lot about them. And then for the Broncos, they can go as far as their defense can carry them. Let's be honest.
Yeah. We've seen Bo Nix have his up and downs. They've had to win games at the very, very end. They barely beat the Giants. They really have to get those game-winning kicks in the fourth quarter. They just won an overtime to the Commanders. Really squeaking these out. I know a win's a win, but they're not exactly the prettiest right now. And like you said, those Bears, tough division. You mentioned the Lions. They're actually on the outside looking in, as crazy as that sounds, at 7-5. Let's focus in on this AFC picture. I think we'll both like this one. The Chiefs are nowhere to be found, folks. They're 6-6. Chiefs nowhere to be found. Are they making the playoffs, or are they done for?
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful sight. It's Yeah, I've heard in the past people say, if for a true passing of the crown, you want to beat the champion. No, I just want them nowhere near the playoffs. The Bills have had enough of this.
Yeah, if you're looking at that wild card spot that they'll have to get to, you're looking at the Colts 8-4. They've just lost 2 in a row. I think Sauce Gardner tore his Achilles. Don't look now. That's some bad news on Indianapolis. You have the Bills there at 8-4 in the 7th seed. The Chargers at 8-4. I feel like a lot of these teams I'm mentioning have a lot of flaws. You got the Jaguars as the 3rd seed. The Ravens are faltering with Lamar Jackson. The Chargers have a lot of injuries. Who from this AFC picture is going to eventually stick out from the rest? I know the Patriots are the 2 seed, don't forget. Who from this AFC will come out at the end of the day?
I do think the Patriots have a lot to prove over these last 5 games. They play the Bills, and really that's it. They continue to have a pretty light schedule. So I think, as long as they can stay healthy, they're going to be tough in these playoffs. I like defense personally, and I like Houston. Despite everything, I like Houston. They're an interesting team for me. Broncos, of course, and let's be honest, the Bills have done this. The Bills have been there. They haven't pushed through, but I think this year we may be hungrier than anybody, and so it's time. It's our time.
I've seen the NFL script, and I think I agree with you. I think it's time that the Bills get to the AFC Championship. They'll probably lose to the Bengals, but I digress. Let's look at this NFC side of the house. I love it. NFC side of the house, obviously we got the Bears up top. We don't believe in them. Then you got the Rams, lost to the Panthers this past week. The Eagles, they're kind of faltering. The Buccaneers, they got injuries. The Seahawks, the Packers, and the 49ers. Who from this NFC picture can kind of push forward ahead of the rest of the pack?
I've still said this entire year it's been the Rams.
Okay,
Rams. I know there was a messy loss last week. It happens. It happens during the course of a 17-game season. You're not going to be undefeated. But let's be honest, that defensive line is terrifying. They have a quarterback who's done it before. He's a proven winner and somebody who has that mentality. And then they have a deep receiving core, fantastic receivers.
Yep.
They truly look like the stuff championships are made of. And so I think they're right now the standalone favorite.
Let's go ahead. It's 4th down. It's 4th and long. And here we always go for it. Let's play a little game of Would You Rather. And this one, I've kept some wild cards up my sleeve here. I have a few good ones I have to ask you. First things first. All right. Would you rather have your team win a Super Bowl, but the next 3 seasons go 0-17 every year? Which one would you rather?
I think, as a Bills fan, with our 4 falls of Buffalo, I've been there when we were almost 0-17. I'm cool with that. I just want one.
You've kind of almost felt 0-17 back in the day. I think we would do whatever it takes to feel that Super Bowl win just once. I'm a Bengals fan. You're a Bills fan. I just want one. One Lombardi. Is that so much to ask? Patriots have a bunch. Steelers have a bunch. Cowboys have a bunch. We just want one. I agree with you completely, but let's make a deal with the devil, Harry. Let's really make a deal with the devil. I'm not messing around anymore. Patrick Mahomes. If you had to trade and have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback right now on the Bills and it would guarantee you a Super Bowl, would you do that, or would you keep Josh Allen and hope for the best? A deal with the devil.
And there's always been this thought of, what if Patrick Mahomes has made his way over
Guarantee Super Bowl, Harry. Guarantee Super Bowl tomorrow. Patrick Mahomes is on your team. Guarantee Super Bowl. Or do you stick by your boy Josh Allen and see what happens and hope for the best?
I'm going to be honest. That's too much. That's too much. Josh Allen. I don't know if you know this, but his grandmother was sick, and she went to the Buffalo hospital, and Bills fans they scrounged up $1 million and made a hospital wing named after her at that hospital.
Wow. It runs deep.
Buffalo.
It's family. Buffalo's family.
We stick by players. As you can see, we have a couple 35-year-olds on our team that should have retired, years ago. But we stick by them because it's Buffalo. Once you're here, you're here. So I think that would be too much. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't do it. I
never thought I'd hear the day giving up a Super Bowl, not making a deal with the devil for Patrick Mahomes. Wow, Bills Mafia, strong, dedicated, very charitable. I see. Should I convert? I don't know. I'll think about it. But let's keep going.
You have the shirt.
I have the shirt. I'm halfway there. Let's do a couple more real fast. I know you're playing the Bengals this week, so this one's burning me up a little bit. Would you rather have an elite offense with a mediocre defense, or would you rather have an elite defense with an average offense?
I'm going to be honest. We have an elite offense with a mediocre defense. Right?
Yeah.
We don't have to make that change. I want to see us just have our defense back. I know how much defense can win. Offense is going to get you only so far. I don't know, the AFC Championship every year, but it doesn't get you to the Super Bowl. So even if we were an average to slightly above average offense and a very good defense, I think we'd be in a much better place. We need balance, and so. But I still love seeing Josh Allen and that.
Yeah, come on. Who doesn't love those fireworks? Josh Allen all day long. I have to admit, I do love seeing that as well. But they say defense wins championships. So, yeah, I'm torn right there. But offense puts the butts in seats. But I got one more. I know Highmark Stadium, last season in existence, they're opening a new stadium. But that stadium's also going to be outdoors. Would you rather your team play in a dome stadium with perfect weather or an outdoor stadium in the unpredictable elements?
Buffalo is outdoors. Some of my best memories of games were going to, the Monday night games. It's 5 degrees. The snow is out there. We're covered in ice, and the only thing keeping you warm is spirit at the time. So that is Buffalo. That's our home field advantage. You take that away, you might as well be playing in, I wouldn't say Miami, but you might as well be playing in Atlanta at that point. It's taking away Buffalo. So outdoor all day.
Outdoor all day. Couldn't agree with you more. All the traditions that come with football, let's not kill that. All these teams are getting soft, man. Let's keep the game outdoors where it should be. But I think that just about does it for us here. I know 30 minutes flies by. I want to thank you, Harry, for joining us from the Bills Mafia. But before I let you go, is there any last words you want to share with the chain movement or anyone you want to plug?
Of course, yeah. And again, thank you for having me. I want to, especially with the holiday season coming around, I want to give a shout out to the Hillsborough County Pet Resource Center. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go to other, places to go get dogs and cats right now, but there are a lot of good animals there that need homes. They give away animals for free, and they do a lot to take care of the animals, and they're constantly overcrowded. So this holiday season, if you're thinking about making that choice for you and your family, go with a place where they need a home, and you can do a lot of good.
Harry, man, you touched my heart right there. I'm getting in my feels. We both have Huskies. We might have to adopt another couple. I think that's what it means. We might have to adopt another couple Huskies.
Oh, so we get the sled team together.
Yes, I can't wait for that. And I can't wait to see what those Buffalo Bills do the rest of the way. Hopefully, the Wagons break this week. But I want to wish you guys the best of luck after this week. Happy December football to everyone in the chain movement listening on Spotify, on Apple, or watching on YouTube. You know the drill. We'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.